Human Vengeance. Chapter 9. Creating Defenses. The Mars colony established itself quickly. A live broadcast was in place, a source of entertainment and pride at our achievement. It enabled them to contact us with issues they encountered, to order forgotten or overlooked resources. It became a fixture of news, with updates on every tabloid. The construction began on the first Predator-class ship. Dubbed the Wolf, it would be our first true interstellar ship. But thoughts turned from offense to defense. We hoped to create an armada that would prove an adequate defense. But that wasn't enough. We knew war enough that such plans wouldn't survive first contact with the enemy. We had to assume that they would have stronger ships. A series of planetary shield generators were started. Linked with a set of orbital projectors, they could produce a global spanning shield. But in times of direct assault, they could be turned to the specific area, bolstering its capacity. They would be independently powered with power stations built purely to service them. As it started, the moon itself was considered. It was incredibly important to our environmental stability. If a race were to target it, the results would be catastrophic. It couldn't be allowed to happen. We chose to protect it. We would cover it in its shielding. Of course, we didn't just choose to shield ourselves. Interlinked with shielding satellites were ones bearing plasma launchers and heavy laser batteries. If we did receive an assault, our teeth would find purchase in their throats. Experimentation with the FTL drive gave us another avenue of defense. It was a major concern over what could withstand something traveling beyond light speed. The amount of power it would require was mind-boggling. But as it turned out, we didn't need to worry. We found it didn't work by simply accelerating in real space. Our universal laws didn't allow it. Instead, it created a rift of kinds into an overlaid empty infinity. This infinity was smaller, allowing us to travel further in real space over a shorter distance. The more powerful the drive, the smaller the infinite that was accessed, thus the further you could go. So an FTL impact wouldn't happen, but you could get close to it. That was the design of our missile racks. Get close and exit FTL just before impact for maximum damage. So we needed something else, something our experimentation gave to us. By essentially running multiple drives overlaid on each other, this mass of infinities created a disruption effect. Unless you were tuned to one of the drive frequencies, you simply couldn't get through. Doing so would throw you out into real space. Testing proved this to be incredibly effective. The forceful transfer tended to cripple systems, as inertia dampeners would fail almost immediately without a calculated exit. A series of these drive matrices could easily be spread throughout the solar system. They could be activated at a moment's notice, with all Earth ships automatically calibrated to one of the drive frequencies. Eve proposed the creation of a secondary AI for these defensive systems. Whilst she was happy to help in any way she could, she knew even her capabilities were limited. In times of combat, she feared she would be unable to split her focus even further. Without a central intelligence to use them all effectively, it could open a hole in our defenses. The Gaian Union leaders agreed. Eve worked with her creators to give birth to a second AI. This one held more aggression than her, a carefully nurtured characteristic, but she took care of it. Much like a parent, she taught it right from wrong. She let it grow up with her. But even as it stood beside her, it was clear that this new AI looked up to Eve. Much like her, it was given the choice to choose its name. It searched history for one that fit it, looking through the warriors of old. It chose the one that resonated most with it. It chose Achilles. With Achilles' help, the wolf was finished. Together they installed its intelligence core and it awoke. A crew was created, and they worked to bond with one another. A ceremonious bottle was broken over its hull as our first warship took to the stars. We began work on a second immediately, tentatively named the Falcon, but we knew we needed to increase production. We needed another shipyard. And so our gaze, once focused on our home, turned to other systems. Human Vengeance. Chapter 10. Colonizing the Galaxy. Changing the production of drones was easy. In place of mining equipment, we included scanning equipment, copied from the schematics. As each one was completed, it was assigned a single nearby star. They would travel there and scan anything of interest: planets, asteroids, and particularly any sign of life. Once complete, they would return, uploading the data to Achilles. He took the data, beginning to produce a star chart. As it grew, he highlighted systems of particular interest. The majority were ones holding mining potential, with bountiful resources. A few held planets with colonial potential, close enough to the Goldilocks zone to be usable. But much to our frustration, life proved elusive. That did not stop us. Sets of autonomous construction equipment were created, sent to those planets with potential. They would produce further habitats, with lessons taken from Mars. These would be larger, taking groups of 1,000 people at once. They needed to be self-sustaining and capable of expanding. It went without saying that those who went would be expected to grow the population. One system, however, was kept separate. It was shown to have a much higher than expected volume of ice-filled asteroids. With a planet in the Goldilocks zone, we designated it as an experiment in terraforming. Whilst it worked in theory, we had yet to test it. Another group of volunteers was gathered to oversee the experiment. They did so knowing it was expected to take generations to complete, but it was a challenge, one they craved. It soon became a routine. A planet was found, volunteers' names taken in preparation, and life continued. The Mars colony became stable, no longer requiring constant assistance from Earth. They expanded as additional individuals joined their community. A second, larger shipyard started construction, one able to produce the Vengeance-class ships. The Falcon was finished, followed shortly after by the Bear. Experience with the construction cut down the time needed, each one being produced faster than the last. Alongside the Predator-class construction, we began work on the first Avenger ship, nicknamed Soldier. Some expected us to slow down. But even as the years slipped away, our pace only grew. An entire generation born after the day of devastation had grown into adults. But they kept up with the pace. Facts were open to all, the wounds of our past still as evident as the day they were first created. There was a moment of surprise when Achilles revealed Eve had shown him her secret project. This construct of intelligence, a near-immortal being, admitted his fear over what she had created. But Eve still refused to show it to the rest of us. It was still a secret to the rest. When asked why she chose to show him, Eve replied with amusement, "Achilles is like me, and so he has a better understanding of what I have done. I was wondering if he had any ideas on ways it could be improved. The fact that he fears it is most certainly a good sign, for I admit I am scared of what I have made. The fact that he is as well shows that my efforts should not be in vain." Achilles kept his mouth shut with her. He readily admitted that he had given some pointers despite the fear over what she had done. But he refused to speak of it, citing Eve's own fears. Even when the AIs of each ship asked, he told them he wouldn't say. Not because he wanted to hold secrets, but with their connection to the other crew, they couldn't risk it being leaked. Not until it was deployed. We wondered at the cryptic message, but still we pushed onwards. Our territory grew further with each day. The first external system colonies were settled, and mining operations started on the non-life-bearing planet. A few stations were constructed to go around the other planets in our home system. They had little practical purpose other than remote testing facilities. The reasoning was simple, though. We made them because we could. Finally, luck shone on us. In a system called Genesis 3, a colony had just finished its settling period. Out of the blue, they detected an unknown signal, The language was alien. Our translation software struggled to handle it. Our race's attention turned to the signal, as second contact was imminent. We had found them.